Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are playwright Bless Jaja and artist Sharon Weiner, whose work is on the set today. Playwright, director, actor, Bless Jaja was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He went to Thomas Dewey High School and Howard University. Bless's play, Barberdashers, debuted in Los Angeles with the big star Ted Lange playing the lead. I have this little card here, I'll hold it up. And since Ted was playing the lead, was that a draw or did it matter as far as the play went?
Definitely a draw in terms of wanting to do it and coming out here to LA because I'm originally from New York. Definitely.
Did you just come out to do the play?
I came out exclusively to do the play.
Oh, because you had worked in New York for a while,
Correct.
I guess, and the play was in New York as well?
It premiered, it debuted in Brooklyn at the Billie Holiday Theater.
Oh, I see.
And a friend of mine who saw it, she's friends with Garrett Morris, and she recommended him for the play. She was like, you know, the older character, he would be perfect. And I was like, okay, you get him a script, and if he's willing to do it, you know. But it's two elders, so I was looking for another.
Oh, two elders?
Yes, and at the time of me flipping through a magazine, FHM, I came across Ted Lange, and I was like, okay, what is he doing? What has he been up to? I think he would be perfect. So as fate would have it, as my life always seemed to work out, sent a letter off to Ted Lange. Didn't get in touch with him through the letter, but another friend who knew that I had written him said, well, I know Ted, or I can get in touch with him. And so
Is that how it happened?
Yeah.
So you are blessed? Bless?
I think so.
Did I say?
It always seems to come together, just like theater.
Did I say your name? I said your name wrong, but it's Jaja.
You said it correct. Jaja.
Now, when you got out of Howard University, which is a pretty lofty kind of education, did you think you were going to go into theater?
Going into Howard, I didn't know I was going to get into theater. I actually went, it was a matter of your parents could afford to send you to college, so okay, off I went. My sister, who's older than I am, she went to Howard University.
Oh, she did.
So I'm following in her footsteps.
I see.
I get there, I enroll in the School of Business because computers were big at the time, but after one semester, I was like, this is not what I want to do.
That wasn't
What
your
do
life
I do?
purpose.
I had no idea.
Oh.
And me thinking and analyzing, okay, well, what is it I do? Started to reflect, well, writing seems to come natural and easy. So I went across the street to the College of Fine Arts, enrolled, and
Is that
never looked
right?
back. Yeah.
Oh, so that was a good life move.
Yeah.
That was great. And then you started writing, and the rest is history, because you wrote a lot of things that were produced in New York and different parts of the country, right?
Correct. My first piece is Birth. And that was produced at the Billie Holiday Theater. In fact, the Billie Holiday Theater, I consider myself kind of like an artist in residence there, because for 3 seasons in a row, they've done 3 of my plays.
Oh, they did. Birth was
Birth
out
was
of a trilogy for M? Was that it?
No.
Was M a trilogy?
M is a trilogy.
Yeah.
That's the first.
I see.
And
then Birth? No.
Okay. Back up. Birth was the first one that they did. Then M, and then Barberdashers. But after M, I said, looking at the characters, I want to continue the storyline of the younger girl in M. So from that, I wrote another play called The Window King, and one more following that, which I've yet to write, which I already have an idea for, will be called A Hitman.
But that's all part of this one group of plays that you call a trilogy.
Correct.
Which is great. You also teach in New York.
Correct.
And
In
what do
fact,
you
they're-
teach?
They're waiting for me to get back. I'm an artist in residence at one of the public schools there, PS 41,
Really?
teaching playwriting,
Really?
Yeah.
To what grade level? 7th grade?
7th and 8th grade.
Oh, how wonderful. Are they motivated to learn?
Yeah, they are, yeah. And I'm involved with 3 classes, and they range from the not so disciplined all the way up to the SP, the special gifted students.
How do you teach them? What do you teach them?
Well, they do all the work. I just give them the techniques and the tools of playwriting, but the storyline is on them, the writing is on them. I just shape and mold and guide them. The subject matter is theirs, which Brooklyn, New York, young people, it tends to be kind of very provincial and narrow, but I'm there to try and widen the scope of, can we not, okay, the guy on the corner with whatever.
You can motivate them to think of a storyline and then to keep going.
Correct, yeah.
So is PS 41 obviously is in Brooklyn.
Right.
And do they have the literate skills, or do you have to go into that too?
No, they have an idea of playwriting, like they would have read a play beforehand and become familiar with.
And
like
do they have
August
the English?
Wilson.
Do they have
Yeah.
the English skills?
So I just come in and with the specialty of being a playwright to fine tune and assist what they've been learning and actually putting together a play. And at the end, we do a full production.
So by 7th and 8th grade, they're reading August Wilson? How great.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful? I mean, that couldn't be better. You act.
Yeah.
Do you write yourself into your plays?
Actually, no. And I
But
know
you
you're asking
weren't.
that because I was in Barbadashes, but the opportunity to work with Ted Lange and Art Evans, I couldn't resist.
Tell us
And
about oh, go on.
I'm a big fan of Woody Allen. And if he can do it, he writes, he directs, and he stars in, and I likewise.
So are we going to start seeing you in the rest of your films or the
No,
rest of your plays?
This was a one-time endeavor. I knew the role. It was small enough for me to feel that I can do and
But it was
also direct.
It was a pretty pivotal role because it brought the young and the old together.
Right, right. But when you write, you feel that, okay, I'm looking at it from an audience point of view and I see everything that I want to have happen when you're writing it. So directing is just the natural extension of that. So I'm just plugging myself into the position of
I see.
how I saw it written and the character.
You had to direct Ted Lange and Art Evans, who are both Hollywood legends, I'd say, or theater legends. Were you intimidated in any way? Because they've been directed by so many other people.
Yeah.
And you're a new director?
Yeah. Well, at Howard, backing up again, College of Fine Arts, my discipline was playwriting and directing.
Oh, it was, so you
it was
did.
equal experience with directing and playwriting, but working, to answer your question, at first a little bit, you know, not knowing their disposition and am I walking in with a room full of divas and you know, who's this little kid and how are you going to direct me? But
little kid, 6'5", excuse me, not a little kid.
But they were tremendous. They were a joy to work with. I learned a lot. And again, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to act on stage with them and know that I would learn. And
tell us a little bit about Art Evans. We know about Ted because we've seen him in Love Boat. We've seen him on the stage. He's been in many films.
If you remember A Soldier's Story, starring Denzel, Adolph Caesar, Art Evans was the right hand to Adolph Caesar.
Oh, so he had a big role.
Yeah.
When I interviewed Ted was on the show, we talked about how talented you were and what a great, what a
so
great
he got my
playwright.
check, okay.
He got your check, yeah. And I said, is that really his name? I love his name. He said, he rolled his eyes and he said, you got to ask him that. So where did the name come from?
Okay, Bless is a nickname.
It was a nickname
It was
before?
a nickname. And again, when you're from New York, Brooklyn, as a child, you go through various nicknames. I was once Skeet, Big C, because Courtney is my birth name, my
Oh, so
given
you were
name.
Big C?
Right. In fact, in high school, my alias was Quinn.
Oh, good. Big C Quinn.
When you go out to the clubs and you don't want to give your real name and you meet someone, I'm Quinn.
That's how you got past all those ropes. You used my name.
And Bless came about, my spiritual godmother, she gifted me that name. And at the time in which I was writing Birth, I dug Bless as a name, but my last name, I was like, that needs to be tweaked and it needs to be complemented, something with Bless. And a good friend of mine, Erica Badu, she was about to get signed and come out, but her name was Erica Free.
Oh,
and Free,
was that a made-up name, Free?
Well, Free was her partner.
Oh, I see.
But she was coming out as a solo artist, so she needed a new last name. And we were sitting there, okay, she was going through various names, and I was coming up with stuff, and I came across an article that featured Geronimo Pratt, Jaja.
Oh.
And I looked at that, and I said, that looks cool, but his is Jaja. And I felt Jaja would look better. So I actually tweaked his name, came up with Jaja. Erica said, you know, that's cool, I like that. So it stuck. I submitted Birth with that name. And so,
oh, you did?
Yeah.
You submitted your play with that?
Right, not knowing that it would be produced at the time. So actually when I submitted the play with Bless Jaja, and I got the call that, okay, we're producing it for next season, Bless Jaja.
So you're stuck with it because all those plays are going to be so interesting and so good for us to see. Mm-hmm. And you've written books, I know.
Yes.
And you're going back to New York to teach, and we're so glad you stayed and came on the Joan Quinn Profiles.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. And thank you for watching this part of the show. We'll be right back with painter Sharon Weiner. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Artist Sharon Weiner was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. She earned a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Missouri in Columbia and a Master of Fine Arts at Claremont Graduate University in California. Her work has been exhibited in galleries and museums across the United States. Did you start out to be an abstract painter, or did you start out to be a painter at all? You must have. No?
No, actually, I started out doing figurative work, and I also worked with welded steel, and I came to abstract painting a little later.
So you went through the steps.
Through the general training, yeah,
so
exactly, foundational training, exactly.
And I know if you got a Master in Fine Arts, you obviously were interested in being an artist of some sort, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I was always looking for something more in life, and I came to painting and to art very late, and started taking classes and just got more and more heavily involved, and then got together a body of work and applied to graduate school, and that's when I became.
Is that how you went to graduate school?
Yes. I took night classes at Otis, and then I decided to go to Claremont.
So at Otis, you probably had some very good teachers.
I had excellent teachers at Otis and Claremont. I've had really good training. Yeah.
Were the teachers, any of the teachers stand out that you went to at Otis in the night classes?
I spent a lot of time with Franklin Legal, and I guess more instrumental, though, was Roland Reese at Claremont. He was really incredible.
Oh, because Roland was teaching there?
Yes, yes.
Roland
He's not there any longer, right.
He did these wonderful boxes with little...
yes, he did, right. Yeah, and I think he's doing acrylic painting now. But he was
too?
Fantastic, yeah. He was amazing.
He was very, what should I say, patient.
Yeah, incredibly knowledgeable, and I just learned an amazing amount of...
So you went to school, you went to Claremont, and you were accepted. You had to be accepted into the graduate program?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I submitted my work, and fortunately I was accepted. And it's a good painting school, especially at that time. This was in '94. And a lot of the schools were, their emphasis, a lot of them was on theory and not as much on painting.
And who was teaching? Painting, painters?
Yeah, let's see, John Millay was there, and, oh God, I'm trying to think, David, I can't think of his name now, but I guess Roland was actually one of the strong,
And John Millay's a very good
painter. They had a number of visiting artists there.
Did they come in and teach classes?
Yeah, people would just rotate in and out all the time.
So did you start doing welding there?
No, actually, I was doing welding before that.
Why would you be in welding?
I don't know. I just felt like I really wanted to make steel sculpture. It was steel and wood,
Is that what it
and I
was?
painted it
Oh.
too.
Oh.
And I'm not sure. It's just one of the periods I went through, and then I decided, no, I really painting feels more like where I belong.
What
So-
influenced you when you got to abstract painting? How did you get your influences?
I think, I guess one artist that stands out in my mind is Ross Bleckner. And I think for his compositions, as well as, I think the emphasis on light, and because I think my paintings have to do with light, like in a formal and symbolic way.
Like
And
this?
right, and sort of metaphysically. And I think that they really, metaphysically in terms of like spirituality and truth and
But when you look at this painting, and I know it's on the screen now,
Uh-huh.
you can look like deep into it. What kind of technique do you use to get that depth?
Lots and lots of layering. These are actually acrylic paintings. I used to work in oil, and I switched to acrylic, and there's just a tremendous process that goes on.
Are they polished?
They're varnished.
They're varnished.
Yeah, and
Each layer?
I use shiny mediums, yeah, on each layer, and then I use a final varnish usually also.
So how would you get the balls into this?
Okay, well, what I do first is it takes several layers to just sort of create a skin that you can actually then paint on.
And is it on canvas or wood?
It's on canvas, and after, a lot of times I either pour or spray the layers on, and just plain flat color, and then you get the right texture to where you can then paint on it. And I do paint the shapes on, and I also use airbrush, and I also do some pouring. And
So there's a whole
it's
lot
a
of
whole
things
lot of
going
process.
into
Yeah,
this?
it's really process-oriented work.
And is the outer surface really fragile?
Yeah, it is. I'm very
looks like
careful.
it's so fragile.
Yeah, I ship them in frames, but it's very easy to work at.
So what kind of materials do you use? So we have canvas.
Right, the canvas, my mediums, all the mediums I use.
Are like what?
Well, I use acrylic medium, and I use airbrush medium, and it's acrylic medium and varnish. That's why it's so shiny. And then I just the ultimate, I do use a varnish that you can use on oil and acrylic paintings, and that actually protects it. So if it gets scratched just a bit, you can remove the varnish, and then you can just reapply it, and then usually the scratch is on the surface.
So
only.
you can take it.
Yeah.
I'm showing this other picture. This looks more like a square format than this one, which is more vertical.
Yeah, I do all sizes.
Are these all from the same program,
the
project
same series? Yeah,
series?
pretty much so. Yeah.
And what would you call this?
Oh, it doesn't really have a name, but I don't know. I just see it's sort of like shapes in the cosmos, kind of floating in the cosmos.
Is it about light and color?
It
or
is
just
about no, it's about light and color, and the light, being the metaphor for like, I think like truth and that sort of thing.
And where do you get the ideas? Are they always this same?
Pretty much just, it's really I work in a really intuitive way, so things kind of just come to me, it kind of unconsciously,
And I know you work in diptych and triptych. I'm going to hold this one up because this
right.
is a different color.
Some of the newest work have multiple panels, and I do that because I like the way that the shapes sort of juxtaposed kind of react to one another. So
this is a diptych, though.
Right.
And what size are these panels?
Those are 30 by 30 inches
so they're pretty
each.
good size.
Yeah, so it ends up 30 by 60.
And are these all done in the same process?
They are, yeah, exactly, yeah. With they take a long time to build up, so it's a slow process.
And if you're doing a diptych or a triptych, as you say, are there certain things you look for to put in the three, or how do they fit together?
I usually just think about it a long time beforehand, what I'm trying to portray, and just kind of, again, it's sort of an intuitive thing, what I'm feeling like I want to, what's going to look right to me at the time. And
now, this piece is so beautiful.
Thank you.
It's a totally different colors.
Right.
Tell us about
well,
that a little
that's part of the new series, and just the palette's changed tremendously. Most of the things were more in the darker tones. And right now, I just started a series with, the melon and yellows and.
They look lighter, and
yeah,
they look like
yeah.
they're floating more.
Exactly, right.
Are they doing that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is it because of the color, or is it the
And
what you're
the placement of
applying?
the shapes, everything. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just it's a new direction.
So do you take different themes when you, like, this is a new direction? Is there a different theme in your mind when you're talking about this?
No, not so much. I think it's still relating to a similar sort of thing. I think it's just becoming a little more like, I feel like they're more floating in the cosmos, though, and more like, I think of those more like, almost like flowers and having to do with nature, and then these seem really like they're floating off somewhere.
When we have these kind of works to the uneducated eye, people will always look at an abstract painting and say, "Oh, that's so easy, I can do that." Do people say that to you?
Yes.
Do they?
Yes.
And how do you answer that?
Try it. Go ahead. Be my guest. Yeah.
Because they think your work is so easy to make.
Well, I think things that look easy often, is really are deceptive because they usually take a lot of time and effort, and plus all the years that you have in training that goes behind it.
That's why I wanted to talk to you about all the layers that were involved, because people think that it's so easy to do.
Right. No, it's not. It's just day
Where do
after
you
day.
paint?
I have a studio, and I have the back part, a room in the back for spraying. I have a roll-up door, and so
Yeah,
it's
because of
for
the
ventilation.
toxic?
Yeah, and I wear a mask, and no, I just feel like I work in the coal mines for most of the time, and then just preparing the canvases, and then when they're prepared, then it's much more interesting work.
Do you continue to take classes?
No, I haven't. I don't anymore. I've taken so many classes. Now I just feel like I really want to put the time into,
And what
making
about
the work.
teaching? Do you teach?
I'm not teaching now. No.
Because this is a technique that you probably developed yourself.
It is pretty much, yeah.
And
exactly.
how did you do it? Just
It
experimenting?
just evolved over time. I think graduate school is where I started, and then really just hard work in the studio, pretty much.
And you get to the point where you think.
Exactly. Yeah. You think, okay, maybe this is okay to go out in the world.
But like something like that, it would be so important to teach at at an art school.
Yeah. Well, maybe I will.
I think you should do
okay.
that.
All right.
What about galleries and getting represented? How important is that?
Oh, it's very important if you want to, be considered a serious artist. Yeah, absolutely.
You're in a lot of private collections and public collections.
Yes, I am. And I've got some galleries representing me.
And is that how you've gotten into the collections?
Yes, usually through the galleries. Yes,
So
absolutely.
how important is the gallery compared to nowadays having your work on the internet?
Oh, I think the gallery is really instrumental in developing your career. If you have the right kind of gallery who's interested in backing you and really promoting you.
And how do you find the right gallery?
It's hard. It's really hard. It's nice if they, hear about you and come to you, and they, they've already like your work. Otherwise, I think you just have to go out and explore it. And I think you have to go to galleries and see the kind of work they're showing and see how you fit in, see how your work compares with it.
That's what I wondered.
I
Is
think
there
that's
a
probably the
symbiotic kind of relationship that needs to take place?
Probably, yeah. I think that's what you do.
Your galleries represent people who do the same kind of work?
Yeah, but I think they have a wide variety. Yeah, but they do. I think they definitely show my work, and they show other work too, but definitely, this kind of work. So.
The same
I think it relates
kind
to
of
it, yeah.
Do you do any drawing at all, or?
I do drawing sometimes, when I'm thinking of ideas or.
Oh, do you
yeah.
plan?
Sometimes,
do you
sure.
plan these pieces?
I do sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I just go right at it, but sometimes, yeah.
But what would the process be then if you were doing a drawing? What do you use?
I probably, sometimes I just like to draw interesting shapes with pencils, and I may not ever use them, but I just like the exercise and I enjoy. And sometimes I do turn it into things that I might use in the future. So
do you save them and then?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes they're not really. I don't like to be precious. I just like to, experience.
So what is the life of an artist?
It's really.
You have a house.
It's probably kind of boring.
No, you have a house.
Yeah,
a husband,
right. Yeah.
A
Dogs,
family,
right.
I mean,
yeah.
And you
it's
have
busy.
this other life.
Yeah, no, I'm really busy. I work really hard. I just go to work every day, my studio, and usually I'm tired and I come home at night and make dinner and, you know, walk the dogs and, you know, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's try to get exercise in and, you know, but really, I really work hard. So and I've had some shows recently close together, so I'm just had to produce a fair amount of work and.
But do you produce work for a particular show, or are you just always producing work?
Both, yeah, both, yeah. I'm always working on things, and you know, I enjoy that. You know, I enjoy developing new ideas, and so.
And so, when you're not walking the dogs, when you're not there, what else are you doing?
I'm exercising, doing Pilates, yoga. You know, basically, yeah.
And reading.
And reading, yeah, exactly.
I bet you're reading a lot, because this looks like it has the depth of a person who reads.
I love to read. Yeah, so.
And music?
Love music. Yes, I love all kinds of music.
So you can see
really
all
eclectic,
those influences on your work.
Good, good.
And I thank you for coming and for bringing these beautiful pieces for us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. See you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles.